Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Tell you one thing, it's amazing what a good away result in Europe can do to you, isn't it? But we all had a good sleep last night. No sleepless nights last night. Oh, thank you, dear. Um, yeah, Celtic won away in Germany. And even though it was a fantastic result, there is still the downside that what ifs? We completely capitulated at Celtic Park, and the reality is that Stuttgart team weren't a great side. Even at Celtic Park, I didn't think that they were a brilliant side. It's just we were woeful on the night. We were terrible on the night at Celtic Park. Last night, when we seen the team announced, you thought, Martin's chucked it, hasn't he? But he hadn't. He had a game plan. And he started the game like a Martin O'Neill side would in Europe, trying to get that early goal. He started the game like what I expected a Martin O'Neill side to start. And we did him a bit of injustice with the squad selection last night. And I've got to say, Luke McCowan, I know he's not the best, and I know that he's never going to be a international superstar, but he's a player that gets Celtic. He's a player that for me is way better than Rio Hatate, and it was nice to see Rio Hatate actually not play. And it was a bit of a mastermind by Martin O'Neill last night by pulling Rio Hatate back. And Rio Hatate is not the best, his attitude absolutely stinks, but Rio Hatate in the holding midfield role beside Callum McGregor. And you're thinking, Martin O'Neill's just changed it. And he's maybe thought, Rio, he's maybe had a word with him and say, look, Rio, you're absolutely garbage going forward, lad. I'm going to put you in the holding midfield role beside Callum. And I've got to say, at the beginning of the game, the shape of the team was fantastic. The shape of the team was fantastic. Do you know, the back four in the first half were playing in a straight back four, something that Celtic very rarely do. And see, when you play in a flat back four line, it makes other teams wary about you because you're defending well and you can also counter attack really well. And I hope that it's not just a one off game. Don't know. Head's fragile today, though. I think there's a lot of people will have fragile heads today. I think we are sleeping on McCowan. Well, I hope you're not sleeping with him. His missus might have something to say with that. But I get what you're saying. But yeah, there's a few sore heads this morning. McCowan needs to start on Sunday, as well as Sinisalo. Excellent performance for these guys. A lot of people were saying that Sinisalo's not the answer for Celtic. I mean, I can only go back to what we saw last season of Sinisalo. And Sinisalo was absolutely phenomenal when Kasper Schmeichel was out injured. And then Kasper Schmeichel just walks back into the team and Brendan Rodgers plays him for the final. And we know how that works out. I think that we're in good hands with Sinisalo. And Martin O'Neill raving about Sinisalo before the game, saying that look, this young lad is going to be the number one keeper next year. He was always going to play in this game, said Martin. Don't know. He was always going to play the last game of the Euro. If this was the last game of the Europa, well, we're always going to play him in it to give them that experience. And I've got to say, we're in safe hands with Sinisalo. All the chat and I know that a lot of the fans have been going, Sinisalo's shite, he's not the answer. He played against Auchinleck Talbot and he was pish. He's not the answer. I would keep him as number one. He distributes the ball faster. He showed everyone at Celtic last night the difference. Kasper Schmeichel, we all know the way that he plays. And let's say some of the saves that Sinisalo made last night, would Kasper Schmeichel have made them diving to his left? I don't think so. He is a young keeper. He is young in the realms of goalkeeping ages. What is he? He's only 24. That's young for a goalkeeper. That's a goalkeeper that's still got the best years in front of him. If we can now get in, I mean, I'm even going to say that Dane Murray had a good game. A lot of people say that Dane Murray is not Celtic standard. I think he is. I think he's a young lad that's come through the system. I've said it before, and this isn't just reactionary because we won last night. I've said it before that Dane Murray is a good player, and that he gets the brunt of it because he's Scottish and comes through the system. Colby Donovan, that's a young lad that is just growing in stature every single time he plays for Celtic. He's going to be a phenomenal. Could you imagine if we had? And this is what is disappointing from the Celtic side and Celtic for me just now. If we'd managed to keep some of the young players, and a lot of people will say, but the young players have left and done nothing. They've went to other teams and they've done nothing. Ben Doak sold for 20 million. Could you imagine if we'd managed to keep the core of that young team together and have been coming through the ranks at Celtic just now? I think we would have had a better team. People at Celtic really have to have a good look at themselves when it comes to the youngsters coming through the system and what they want for the club, because we need a big rethink. Now, obviously, the big breaking news last night was Willie Haughey plans to purchase 10 million worth of shares in Celtic. That obviously gets the fans chatting. People are asking, well, whose shares is he buying? Listen, there's £500,000 worth of shares were sold just a couple of weeks ago. When someone's dangling £2 million in front of you, someone somewhere will sell out their shares. There's no doubt about that. But that's a chat for another day. That's probably a chat for tomorrow morning, where we can go in depth about that and talk about the reality of that situation and how it will work. And I'll tell you one thing: a couple of messages that I got last night from people that are a lot closer to the situation than I will ever be. Let me just go back into this message. This is the real deal. You know, this isn't a fly by night stuff. This is the real deal. And what I didn't know was he actually owns the. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to come out of that because it's getting me rather a bit excited. We're talking about the game last night. Look, we're out of Europe. It was a win that gives us a boost going into the weekend. This weekend, can we get one? Can we get one over another German this weekend? I hope so. I think that the team playing the way they can, it makes you wonder the players that were sitting on the bench last night. Let's get the team back up from yesterday with the. That's not the team. It's on a different screen. Where is the team? There's the team from last night. Sinisalo, Donovan, Trusty, Murray, Sarachi, McGregor, Hatate in the holding midfield. McCowan, Young, Dyes and Maeda as a front three. Was a sort of three in front of him. And then Junior Adamu up front on his own. Junior Adamu's... I think the best thing that Junior Adamu did was that touch to hold the player off and get the ball out to Luke McCowan. Sublime stuff. And you've got to say, it all started from Callum McGregor. You know, Callum McGregor gets the ball out to Yang. Callum McGregor had some fantastic moves last night. He seems to be coming into a bit of a game just now. And I think that what has been good for Callum McGregor is the fact that Oxlade Chamberlain's come into the game. I know that Oxlade Chamberlain didn't play last night. I don't know if he travelled with them, but I think it's given Callum McGregor that little bit of belief again. Little bit. I better get my finger out. I better show how good I am. Don't know. I better show how good I am. When you look at the bench, Schmeichel, Scales, Benji Negrin, Big Tam, Tenecti. When we can talk about Big Tam, but I don't think that he is the answer for Celtic. And I think that it would be silly for Celtic to make his contract permanent in the summer. Tenecti, Bernardo, Forrest, McCardle, Iniacho, Hatton, Ralston, and Tierney. Right, let's talk about the issue that Celtic have had for a few years now, and it's the quality in the final third. Let's talk about Big Tam and Iniesta, two players that are out of contract in the summer, both having a conversation to be had. Both players they don't have the option of another year, but they've got the sort of the gentleman's agreement of we'll talk about it in the summer. There is an option to buy Big Tam. There's an option to give Iniecho another year. For me, you don't you don't give them another year. You go out and you try and find someone else. They are big lads, but they are not the answer. Paulo Bernardo would feel a bit thinking that he never got on last night. Tenecti come on. If he had scored in the last minute, it would have made things very interesting, because Celtic could have been minutes away from trying to get a third. Was it a good result? It was a fantastic result. Does it bring us back down to earth? Does it get the team motivated? I'll tell you one thing. It makes you think what Martin O'Neill could really have done this season. And it will get the people talking. Now, there was one of his ex-players in the studio last night, having a little bit of a joke, saying, is Martin O'Neill not going to be here next year? Do you know something that we don't? Has Martin O'Neill secretly told other people within the club, or has Martin O'Neill said he is not going to be here next season? And is it really due to the fact that Martin O'Neill knows that the hierarchy at Celtic aren't good enough? Drink my coffee before it goes cold today. It's about a litre worth of coffee. Scott says Tam and Kelechi not good enough. Benji Negrin, Tenecti and the Ox to come in for Sunday. Yeah, I think so. Iniecho would injure himself signing the contract extension. Yeah, I wouldn't give Iniecho a contract extension just to the fact that he's been injured the majority of the season. And he done nothing last night. No disrespect to the guy. Don't know, he's won stuff in that, but he's not what we need going forward. He doesn't play like a Martin O'Neill striker. And neither does Big Tam, by the way. So, but it's not going to be Martin O'Neill who's going to be the manager next season. So it could be a completely different conversation. There's going to be an exodus in a few months. Can't be good for team morale. I think it can actually, because a lot of players, because they know that they're playing for their future elsewhere, a lot of players can up their game. And do you know that if they know that they're in the shop market, if they know that they're in the market for another club, be good for team morale. I think that, and the fact that Martin O'Neill's got this team on a bit of a roll, and it's like, well, do you want to win something? Do you want to win a medal in your career? It's the easy conversation that Martin does with his squad. If you think that morale's going to slip down, and the morale of the players are thinking, I'm out here in the summer. Well, Martin O'Neill just says, do you want to win a medal? Because there's a lot of players in this team that haven't won medals. A lot of these lone players have never won. They may never win another medal in their life. Celtic could give them the biggest opportunity in their career so far to win a championship medal. And when you look back at the end of the day in your football career, would you rather look back and have that one opportunity and say, I was a champion. I was a champion once. I won the league. We won one of the most tightly fought league. That's the type of thing that you brag about and talk about for years to come. If Celtic turn this around and win this league, well, we went to Germany and won away in Germany. Brilliant, man. You know, we've got the hoodoo off the back. There's been a lot of negativity about the club last night, and the fact that Willie Haughey has come out and has plans to invest in a fund for the fans to buy shares. He doesn't want to be part of the club. He doesn't want to be a director. He's too old for that shit. He's been there and he's done it. But he's got a love for the club. And I have said over the last couple of months that the Celtic fans collective need to be putting forward an alternative until an alternative steps up and is handed on a plate by the Celtic collective, Celtic fans collective. The Celtic fans collective are going to find it very hard to maintain any kind of momentum. And the Celtic fans collective will say, well, we've got the momentum. They see that the momentum's on their side. They were never going to beat the board. They were never going to beat Desmond. But what happened last night and yesterday is a game changer. And Dermot Desmond will know that. Dermot Desmond was sitting thinking this morning, fuck. Sorry for swearing first thing in the morning. But he was sitting going, that absolute gobshite. Since he's Irish. Because now the fans have someone that stepped up to the plate. But anyway, let's get someone into the comments this morning. McCown, McGregor, Chamberlain, midfield for Sunday. What Martin O'Neill age to do with not having him here next season. Martin O'Neill's already come out and said that he's not going to be here next season, and plus he's 74 this week, I think. Anyway, it would be a miraculous medal. It would be. I tell you one thing: if there's anyone that can do it, and good on Martin O'Neill last night, that female who's a Rangers fan interviewing him last night, saying that Celtic are going through a bad patch. They're dropping. They're playing bad. They're not winning. And Martin O'Neill was, what are you talking about? We've lost 2 games. We're not out the running. We've got a game in hand. Do you know? I disagree with you. Fair play to Martin O'Neill for backing this team and having that belief. Do you know? I tell you one thing. When I'm 74, I hope I'm still as sprightly as Martin O'Neill and as athletic as Martin O'Neill, and is still as sharp as in the head. Super chat from John this morning. Thank you for that, mate. Benji Negrin is a luxury player. Would be fine when we had a good team. What do you mean, when? That's fine, mate. The time that Google takes their cut, it'll be left with about 15 pence. The club needs new blood, not the dinosaurs leading the club nowhere. I don't think that they're leading the club nowhere. What they're doing is that they're maintaining the status quo, and they're a bunch of people that are running the business to their business plan, and they will say that their business plan is doing well, and they'll give themselves slaps on the back. But they've gone stale, and we need someone. And I tell you one thing: if this kicks off, and if we can get now, all Willie Haughey wants is people to register on his Celtic Fans Alliance or whatever he's calling it, and all he wants is he wants you to register with your email address or your phone number. Doesn't want any more details. People will get thinking about that, but listen, the phone that you're holding holds much more information about you than anything else. All he wants is the number of people, and if he can get 50,000 people, he will buy 10,000 worth of shares. There's more than 50,000 Celtic fans. I know that there's 50,000 go to games, 50,000 season ticket holders or whatever. What if we got 100,000 signing up to this, Willie Haughey? What are you going to do then? I'm just saying, think big, mate. Because I know how many Celtic fans, and I know how many individual fans watch this channel on a monthly basis, and it's more than 50,000. It's way more than 50,000. I think Willie Haughey is underselling this a bit. Because if the Celtic fans get together on this one, and this is something that they can back, and I believe that this is something we should back. I believe that this is something that we can back, and I believe this is the vehicle that is needed to get change at Celtic Park. This is what we've been waiting for. This gives me the 1990s feeling again. Keep Willie Haughey away from my club. He doesn't want to be part of the club. Do you not listen to what he said? Do you not listen to the statement? He doesn't want to be anywhere near it. He's putting the money into a trust. He's going to set up an office. He's going to pay for a secretary to sit in the office, and he's going to get her to run everything. He's going to be nowhere near it. He doesn't want to be on the board. See, this is where the Celtic fans are so divisive. Here comes the knight in shining armour that you're all wanting. You won't change, but as soon as somebody steps up to the mark, get him away from my fucking club. Fuck that bitch. Honestly, you can't make it up. If you come in wearing a fucking chic and take it off and it was Brendan Rockin' Rogers, everybody would be like, hey, Brendan's back. Look, he's wearing a fucking... Fuck off. Honestly, Jesus. Um, Sean says, Willie Haughey did say that Dermot Desmond is his mate, but never said to him, plus doesn't want any boards to leave as he has spoken to them and it's not the way to go, as well as saying that what the issue is and spot on. But anyway, I'd be amazed if Martin O'Neill drops Casper on Sunday. Peter King says this is only start, get behind Willie. The thing is, it is not Willie Haughey. He has come out and said he will not be fronting this campaign. He said he has a Celtic legend lined up for this campaign. Willie Haughey's not going to be anywhere near it. And it'll be interesting once the Celtic legend, and I'm wondering if it's Chris Sutton. Because Chris Sutton's the man who said, look, I'll be the mediator between the fans and the board. I'm wondering if he's got Chris Sutton on side. But we'll just wait and see. If somebody's going to invest 10 million, you can't grumble. No, we can't. The legend who is fronting it is John Collins. And he's going to be our new director of football. Is it John Collins? Is that why John Collins was spotted with the Motherwell manager? Sitting next to the Motherwell manager? I mean, it's not a takeover that he wants. It's not a takeover that he's trying to do. It's giving £10 million worth of shares to Celtic fans. Every single person that signs up will be pretty much a shareholder at Celtic. But as he's testing the water, season tickets, and then we'll see where it goes. Of course you want to test the water. But I believe that you've got to remember that he's the same man that stood on the doorstep with Celtic Park with Fergus McCann. He's not adverse to a bit of change at Celtic Park. And he's not adverse to ruffling some fellers without going straight to the board and telling them exactly what he's going to do. Do you know? So, but anyway. He's a snake oil salesman. He's having nothing to do with it. Honest to God, man. Who would you rather? This is the conversation. Who would you rather have come in with 10 million? Would you rather some sheik from Saudi Arabia that's Brendan Rodgers' new best mate, because Brendan Rodgers has best mates all the time. So Brendan Rodgers gets a new best mate to come in for Saudi or wherever he is these days and say, well, I'm going to pump in 10 million and then bugger off back there and just do nothing. Or would you prefer somebody to come in and go, right, there's 10 million worth of shares. I've got, if you sign up to this, every 10,000 Celtic fans that sign up, I will put in 2 million of my cash to a trust fund that will then buy shares on those supporters' behalf. Nothing to do with me. He will pay for a secretary to run the trust fund. He will pay for an office for the secretary to run the trust fund and oversee it. Nothing to do with him. But people are saying, get him to fuck. Honestly, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. The Rebels will win again. An actual football brain behind those doors is needed. Collins could be the beginning. Any sign of improvement in the board is a bonus. It's not going to happen overnight. No, it's not going to happen overnight. I'm just going to check something because that's an... Honestly. Anyway, right. Joseph says, can we trust anybody with Lord in his name? When you've got a bunch of Tories and Labour peers running the club, and you're worried about because somebody's been given a title due to his business exploits. See what I mean? You're never going to keep everyone happy. You're never going to. And this is Celtic fans all over. You look a gift horse in the mouth, and he comes and says that, you know what? I don't trust him. Don't trust him 1 minute, and I've just lost a screen. Anyway, I'm now running blind on the screen. Oh, there we go, we're back. There's probably the best comment. The fans that are telling Haughey to do on probably booed wee Fergus when he came back to Paradise. Seriously, our support have a red neck sometimes. Well said. Well said, mate. Well said. Do you know what? And I'm kind of glad that people are putting their head above the parapet and saying that, do you know, because for me, it shows you that they're the ones to watch. Because I believe that this is the best news, absolutely best news, that if you want change at the club, this is the best vehicle to get behind. And I've been saying it for a long time. I'm repeating myself now, but I've been saying it for a long time. If you want someone to step up and really make a difference at Celtic, the Celtic fans collective's never going to be able to make the change that Willie Haughey and his proposal could. Never. Not in a month of Sundays. But anyway, cat amongst the pigeons. That's what we need. Exactly. There we go. Been a season ticket holder in the North Stand since the day it opened. I think it's a brilliant idea to give season ticket holders a voice on the board. Is that not what we've been asked for? What we've been asking for? Yeah, it is. It is what we've been asking for. Are you taking the soup? I've been watching your comments all morning, mate, and I'm going to put you on a ban because I think your Tommy Burns comment really was below the belt. So you know what I mean? I think you're being a bit of a knob this morning, so I'm going to give you a timeout, mate. Don't really care, but I think you're being a bit of a knob this morning. But anyway, big red, big red. Ah, Jesus, right. So next up is the fantastic, absolutely fantastic away game at Ibrox this weekend. Celtic obviously having won that game last night. Does it give us a little bit of motivation, a little bit of oomph going into the game this weekend? Does it? When you look back, Scott's just read my mind. Celtic have an excellent record in beating Sevco after European games. 2018 win, 2019 win, 2022 win, 2023 win, 2024 win. Let's do this on Sunday. I think that let's just get the result on Sunday. Don't know. A draw is absolutely no good for Celtic this weekend. I think that we need to go out. We need to go out and win the game, and win the game convincingly, because we're due one over that lot. We are due one, and Martin O'Neill would love it no more than anyone else to get an absolutely fantastic result against them. It's the way. It's what's needed. Do you know? And if we do get the result, Stuttgart fans have a lot of nice things to say about Celtic fans. There was a Stuttgart fan on the live last night. Let me see if I could find he left some. He was on the chat last night, and it does show you the difference when you've got fans of an opposing team that come in. That was just one of the comments that he left last night, talking about the ultras. The fact that the ultras were banned. Ultras are a force of any fan base. I wish you well. And he was a really. He had some I mean, and he knew that we were getting beat. He even had a laugh in the comment section about the fact that Stuttgart needed to target Tony Ralston. Do you know what I mean? So it was absolutely brilliant. It was brilliant last night, and it was good to have a fan from another club come on and not be the way that Scottish fans are. But anyway, let's leave that at that because it is over and done with. We can't live on that result forever. Although it was a great result last night, that's it. It's gone. It's done and dusted. It's on to the next game. We forget about it. You know, you can enjoy yourself last night. You had a little drink last night. Went out, had some food, had some couple of vino tintos, and had a nice little night. But then you wake up this morning and we've got to face Rangers this weekend. The team would have flown back last night. They would have got home around about 3-4 o'clock in the morning. They're going to have to get up because they've got a training session today. Martin O'Neill will face the media at Lennoxtown today, and then they will train on Saturday, and we'll see what he says about Julian Araujo, because Araujo pulled up in training yesterday and didn't travel with the squad. Will he be fit for the game at the weekend? And do you put your faith in Colby Donovan to start that game? Big games need big moments from big players. Oxlade-Chamberlain will start for Celtic in the midfield, dropping out Rio Hatate as he will sit in that midfield with Callum McGregor. The biggest thing that we need to think about is who do we play as striker? Because even though that we've brought in Big Tam, we've brought in Junior Adamu, they don't seem to be hitting the heather on fire, do they? And it is still a bit of an issue. You know, we're not scoring for fun. We didn't look like really scoring another one last night. We were toiling in front of goals until Tenecti come on. Tenecti will start at the weekend. Maybe Tenecti will be that bright spark. Tenecti needs to be more a game player, though. He does try to take on too much himself, trying to be the superstar. Don't know, he needs to Celtic maybe need to get Jota and have a word with him and show him some videos how Jota, even though Jota was the superstar from Portugal and used to go on amazing runs and do things himself, he was very much a team player. And if you can get Tenecti to play even 75%, a bit like Jota, you'll have a fantastic player in there. But then it would just be Celtic way to sell the bloody boy for 20 bloody million in the summer. That can't happen. Julian got wrapped in cotton wool for the weekend. Hopefully, we'll find out this afternoon. Let me just jump into a couple of more comments before I leave this morning. If we come out of this season with silverware, we should never forget how bad it can get when it comes to future recruitment. Martin O'Neill won't be here ever to bail us out. Yes, this is very, very true. Jota and Kyogo had a great understanding. We don't have any kind of understanding with the front three. Although Junior Adamu last night, that touch for Luke McCowan to go into the box and Luke McCowan take it on his left side and just boom, he knew exactly what he's doing. That was Luke McCowan. That was the Luke McCowan that made Celtic think, yeah, he's worth coming to Celtic. He's got a bright future. He's got a bright future, but he will also be the player that will get it in the neck. The same as Callum McGregor gets it in the neck. Luke McCowan over the next couple of years, will he be the man to take over the captaincy from Callum McGregor? Do we have the next captain in waiting at the club? That's an interesting one. There's going to be a superstar for Portugal, and they need to look at the keeper and play Sinisalo. Kasper is okay, but isn't he always injured with his arm? Yes, I think he is. Engels is the only player getting sold for 20 million anytime soon, says Brunwauer. Adamu to start on Sunday. The lad just needs game time. I think does he offer more than Big Tam? I would say yes. Big Tam's turning out to be a disappointment. I thought when you bring somebody in for the area of the world that he's from, you're going to have somebody that's got a bit of fight about them. And he does have a bit of fight, and he likes to get into wrestling matches with defenders. But he's no Chris Sutton. He's no John Hartson. He's no French Eddie. Don't know. There's just something that it's just no. I don't think it's clicking for him at Celtic. When's Jota back? He's back next season. Adamu, McCown, Yang had a few good interplays last night. Yes, they did that. Who plays beside Scales? I'm thinking Murray. Yes, it'll be Dane Murray. That's why Dane Murray got the full match last night, because Dane Murray will play this weekend with Scales. Now, Scales at Ibrox. We need a real good Scales performance. Just like that season when Scales thought he was going away to Aberdeen, and then he got thrust into the Rangers game and had a fantastic game. We need a performance like that from Big Scales. That's it. Anyway, if we play Casper at Ibrox, we'll lose. He'll throw two. Sinisalo is definitely on the starting spot. He calms things down. Like you said last night, Baz distributes quicker with the ball. He does that. We've seen that for last season. I couldn't understand why he never got a run under Brendan, but Brendan had his best pal there. But anyway, for me, Sinisalo must start at the weekend. I hope Sinisalo. It's more hope than anything, because the young lad deserves it. Young lad definitely deserves it. Big Tam's not great, but it can cause the Huns problems. Only if the Hun referee is fair. Can't see Scales passing. I can see Scales passing to a Rangers player at least 3 or 4 times under no pressure. Let's not get negative about it. Come on. We're riding the wave. People saying last night, look, Bodo Glimt are riding a wave of success right now. Should Celtic not ride the wave off the back of that game last night? Because getting a good result in Germany isn't for everyone. Don't know. I think that there's always a game, and I've said this before, there's always a game that's a turning point in a season. And I know it's late on, and you're never thinking it's a game at the end of February that was the turning point. That win away in Germany, we were lucky we got, they did score. It was ruled offside due to the player coming on the park before he was allowed to. Did we get away with one then? Was the player offside that scored the goal? People will say we got lucky there. Sometimes you need to ride your luck. Some people will say, well, we've been riding our luck for weeks with last minute goals. We didn't have to score a last minute goal to win that game last night. We scored in the first 29 seconds. That's a proper old school Martin O'Neill team. Proper old school Martin O'Neill. Couldn't believe the way we started. The way that we played the first 15, 20 minutes. It was like you could have shut your eyes and just started saying Thompson, Larson, Sutton, goal. But it wasn't. Scales on play last night. But what he does consistently is passing to opposition players consistently. Riding the wave or constructed progression. Now that is a good one. It's not riding the wave. Don't know. It's manufactured progression by the Martin O'Neill and the backroom staff. You're quite right. I thought Murray was excellent last night, considering the level of opposition, and his previous performances show sign of self-belief and maturity for me. I'm telling you, people, when he slipped on the edge of the box last year against Aston Villa in the last game of the Champions League group stages, when he slipped in the box, everybody was like, he's not Celtic standard. You remember Dane Murray when he slipped in the box? He battered the pitch with his fist because they just conceded. It led to a goal. He knew that he fucked up. He knew that he mucked up. And for me then, I knew at that point, that is a player that will overcome that. Because a mediocre player does not get angry with himself. A mediocre player doesn't get angry with himself and doesn't take the frustrations out on the pitch. A mediocre player just goes. Rio Hitati would not thump. If Rio Hitati slipped and caused a goal, Rio Hitati would not thump. Rio Hitati's like. I'm not saying that he's a mediocre player, but he's got a mediocre attitude. And it's all about attitude in this game. Daisen Maeda goes into a tackle with a guy, just walks away. Stinking attitude. You can have a winning mentality, you can have a winning attitude. And I think that the youngsters that are coming through, the Dane Murrays, the Colby Donovan, they're going to be here for a long time. And they will, in the future, get stick like all the young Scottish players do. Seems to be something that we're world. It is the one thing that Celtic fans are world class at, is that taking a youngster that's come through the system, that's been playing at Celtic since he was 7, 8, 9 year old, and that's put him and his family has put their whole life on hold trying to get this young lad to be a professional football player. But Celtic fans are world class at trying to knock that boy right back down on his arse. Do you know, we looked back Tony Ralston's Instagram a couple of nights ago, and you see a young Tony Ralston who looked like he came out of a Rocky film when he was about 17. You had the physicality then that he must have been labouring from a young age. And I mean, the shoulders on the young lad at that point. But anyway, a win on Sunday would make Hearts look over their shoulder. Squeaky bum time. It would that. No Baz Rio would run off. Oh, Jesus. Should Hatate be on the pitch? Because Hatate, for me, shouldn't be in the squad. Just watching the ball. You're going to have to play him between now and the end of the season. I mean, that's the thing. He is a Celtic player, and we're going to have to utilise the squad as much as we can. But anyway, Desmond Dolly just comes on just as I am going off. Can't make it up. Right, there's a couple of comments that I want to put back up. The fans that are telling Willie Haughey to do one probably booed wee Fergus when he came back to paradise. Seriously, our support have a red neck sometimes. For me, it was an absolutely fantastic night last night. It was an absolutely fantastic result. I am on happy chappy this morning. I think it gives us a good boost, a timely boost, going into the game this weekend. Let's see what Martin O'Neill has to say for it tonight. Let's see what the good news is and the bad news is after the game, if there's anyone carrying knocks. And the big one is Araujo okay? And how many changes does Martin O'Neill? How do we improve? I mean, obviously you can improve the team from last night, but how do you improve? How do you maintain that attitude? That's the big question that Martin O'Neill will have going into the game this weekend. Another away game. This is the time that Celtic generally come alive in the league. This is what we used to call Celtic time. Is this the game last night that gives us that timely boost in the run-in to the end of the season? Or do we go to Ibrox and we get absolutely mullered by VAR and some dodgy decisions? It'll all come out in the wash, as they say. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day. And I'll tell you one thing, when you see that mob at work today, you'll have the bigger smile on your face than them. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.